The Boise State, Venture College, and Trailhead present highlights from the Survive to Thrive series.
We're a very small team, but at the time I was like, let's create a Facebook group called Quarantine Cuisine where people can just share what their challenges are in the kitchen. A lot of people are learning to cook for the very first time. It's not a time for showing off how organic or how gluten-free or how, holier than thou your cooking is. It's like we're just in survival mode. People are making rice from scratch for the first time in 45 years, things like that. And so we really tried to reach out to our community and provide channels for them to get new ideas and to share what their accomplishments were at a time, the first time in most people's lives that they suddenly can't go to a restaurant and just buy food.
The way we set up our business needs to address flexibility and adaptability. And that's why we started in mid-2018 to diversify our channels so that we weren't reliant on grocery. And that if grocery were to take a dive, short-term or long-term, that we had other channels that may move in the opposite direction. We began to penetrate the private label channel. We sell butter to Sweet Earth, a division of Nestle, where they make baked goods. And we make ingredients to make all the buns for a number of hamburger chains. And that sort of broadening of our base increases the stability of the company. Finding ways to get funding. I would say, first of all, there's a couple of adages. One is never say no to funding if it comes by, because it may seem like you don't need it at the time, but in the food business, I've learned that you need more than you think you need. Before we even talk about funding, it's so important to establish credibility that you have set goals, targets, KPIs. Investors are really concerned about concrete numbers, how many subscribers you have, or what your sales are, or how many stores you're selling in, or what your velocities are. To establish those, to be clear about what you're doing, to understand what a good number versus a not good number is, and know that you're in the green on those numbers. And when you raise money, be very clear about what you're going to do with it and what you hope to get out of it.
Okay, I think just number one, always keeping a consumer focus. If you always make the consumer's needs number one, a lot of the other things will fall into place, because then you're always rallying behind solving their problems. And I think that that really is my number one focus, is just always that consumer responsiveness piece. Talking to your customers is so important. And a lot of food businesses get themselves into a hole where they're kind of living in a silo and they forget to keep getting out there and talking to their customers and finding out what they want.
I would advise anyone out there who is running a food company to spend as much time, once again, with relationships with investors, to where they get to trust you enough that they will give you the inside scoop on what is it they're really thinking. And each investor is a little different, but the more investors you can form personal relationships, the more you get a sense for how investors in general are feeling about the food business industry and your company in particular.
Thanks for listening. While you're waiting for the next episode, feel free to contact us or follow us on social media.